He's back a year again, but this time he's presenting games. Renegade Kid, it's Jools Watsham. Hey, we're pretty good, but how about you? How are you doing? It's been a very busy year from last year. You had 4 games released since we last met, and you got like 3 more. Yeah, I mean, well, Planet Crashers, you had Bomb Monkey, and then you had Mutant Mudds on like 5 different on the iOS and on PC. Yeah. You really added new levels. It looks like it's a tiring year for us. How has it been for you?
Yeah, it has been real busy. I mean, it's fun though, you know. I mean, we're enjoying it. That's what we love to do. But it's a little crazy. We're a little busy right now. Yeah, it's not slowing down. We're equally as busy now as we were then.
And maybe more, from what I'm seeing from Colt Counter here. Now, first I want to talk to you about ATV Wild Ride 3D, because it came out just earlier this month, and what's interesting is that the game was originally on the DS. What inspired you to bring it onto the 3DS?
You know, well, I mean, the reality is the release of the first game was pretty limited. You know, it didn't, due to reasons I can't go into, it didn't have a wide release from the publisher, which is a shame. You know, we have no hard feelings about that. It was just an unfortunate situation. So for us, it's kind of like, you know, it never really got a chance to get out there. You know, the 3DS is awesome. You know, we had some racing experience with our first racing game on the 3DS, Face Racers, Photo Finish. So like, you know what? This is a great opportunity to take the original DS stuff, up-res it, you know, make it, you know, polish everything off, and just get it on the 3DS. We can sell it through the eShop, lower price. So it just made sense, you know. So we've been kind of chipping away at it, man, for a good year or so. So now it's finally done and it's out, which is awesome.
One of the things that's really been significant added to it was the online play, and I've been playing it all the time, trying to find people on the game. But how hard was it to create an online experience? Because I remember the original didn't seem to have an online experience compared to this one. That's
correct. Yeah, the DS one was only local multiplayer. Again, you know, we had done some multiplayer stuff with Face Racers, you know. So we'd kind of gone through that. Also, Planet Crashers has online multiplayer as well. So you know, that gave us some good experience to kind of go, great, you know, let's get it on ATV as well. So we've done a lot of that work already, which is nice. So yeah, that's cool.
It's always good to have some experience going into something like that. Keeps the game moving smoothly, from what I can tell.
For sure.
Now, your next game is Mutant Mudds Deluxe for Wii U, as it's over there,
yep.
and one of the things that's the biggest change, besides being on HD and being playable on the gamepad, is the extra 20 levels that they added to it. How are those 20 levels really different from the other 60?
Okay. Yeah. So the way you access them is you're in the level select hub, and there's like a little mirror door in the center. And so any level that you beat in the regular world, when you enter that mirror and go to the ghost world, they're open there as well. So that's how you kind of access them. There's like 20 levels that are kind of parallel to the regular world. You know, with the granny levels, I think it works really well. You really kind of just completed that experience, you know, because originally you unlock Granny, you're like, great, you know, but you can't really do much with her, you know, so the 20 levels for her made sense, and that was great. But the downside to that was you have to beat the game. You have to be super hardcore to unlock Granny and get to the 20 levels. So yeah, it's kind of like, not everyone's going to see that, you know. So like, well, with this stuff, we were like, how do we incorporate levels, you know, that aren't just, you know, doors just like the other stuff, like the secret levels and the granny levels, you know, but we also want the player to kind of access them early on. So that's where we come up with the parallel universe thing, you know, well, with the ghost world being a kind of parallel to the level select. But what I also liked about the granny stuff is it did incorporate kind of new gameplay in a way. It was the first time you were ever required to use all 3 power-ups all the time, so that was really cool. So with this, we'll do a similar thing, like present some kind of unique gameplay. So what we did was, all of the enemies are obviously now ghosts. Yeah. Your shots go right through them, so you can't hurt them. So you're avoiding them. You know, you're kind of dancing around them, really, like really nimbly kind of getting around them because you're still collecting gold and diamonds. So that's a big change, and I think that's really neat. It's a very different kind of gameplay. In addition to that, we have big chunks of the level kind of moving up and down and shifting to kind of give it that kind of ghost, kind of mischievous kind of feel. There's new enemies as well. There's new ghost enemies splattered throughout through the levels, and then we also added kind of a temporary ghost shot power-up that when you collect it, it gives you a limited ammo of ghost shots, and that's what you can use to actually destroy them. So you may have a situation where there are 3 enemies moving back and forth, and there's no way past them without getting hurt. So you kind of have to find the little power-up, go back there, take them out, and then kind of get through it. So yeah, so that's it in a nutshell.
Wow, that's intense. And I played a few of the levels, those 2 levels before that were at the demo here, and yeah, without that dirt shot, you're doomed. How did it feel to, like, when you had the game done, you decided to make more levels? How was that different from when you were creating the game initially?
You know, it's nice. I mean, even though, especially the ghost levels, actually the granny levels as well, but more recently the ghost levels, because that's what's in my mind. It's quite refreshing, honestly. You know, even though I've been dealing with Mudds, it seems like non-stop the last year and a half. It's been this, for the most part, the same levels over and over again. I mean, fair enough, we had the granny levels, and that was great. But with the ghost levels, similarly, it's quite refreshing because they do have new gameplay, you know, aspects to it, I should say. So, like, just this week, you know, I was kind of finishing off the second level that you have in the game right now. And what's nice is even I'm finding myself entertained, which is nice. You know, I mean, I play through the other 60 levels and it's still fun. Surprisingly, I still actually like them. But I notice myself enjoying these more right now because they're much more fresh to me. And I'm like, oh, this is actually new gameplay, which is really nice because I'm hoping that obviously that translates to the player as well, where they're like, oh, well, this is different, this is new. Not only to people who own the original 3DS version or whatever version they might have, but also those that have never played the game before. You can ignore the ghost levels if you want to, but when you do come to them, you're like, oh, this is kind of different, neat, and that's entertaining. You know, that's fun. And what I like about them also is that they are accessible from the beginning. So you beat the first level, that opens up the second level, and now if you want to go to a ghost world, that means boom, straight away you have 2 levels to choose from, and that's really nice. So that you can choose to check them out really early.
So you can get the challenge right now versus when you beat the game and have to deal with the granny level.
Immediately, yeah.
Now here at PAX East, you unveiled Colt County. It's your next game here on display. What can you tell us about the game besides, I mean, we have a little environment demo here, but is there any details about the game that you can disclose right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a game that's set in a West Texas town. As this suggests, there may be a cult, perhaps, in town that's perhaps interested in the occult, maybe. Oh, snap. You know, there's some weird stuff going on both accounts. And you know, you get there and yeah, you kind of, it's weird, it's a weird place, and you kind of have to figure out what's going on and make sense of it, and you'll meet people and talk to them, as well as obviously have enemies and stuff to worry about. We're kind of taking our time with it, honestly. I mean, even though we're showing it today, it's, you know, very early, but it's the kind of game where we want to focus on it being a kind of a slow, kind of tense experience. And the way we're going to approach each game is as an episode. So there'll be episode 1, for example, maybe like 4 hours or whatever, something like that. You know, for a kind of a lower price, and it will end on a cliffhanger. So if you, of course, right. So if you like that and you want to know what happens next, then you can buy the next one and so on. Which I think it's nice for the player, because personally, when I watch shows like Lost or, you know, whatever, any great TV show. It's exciting. You watch the first episode, or a episode I should say, it ends with something, you're like, oh, I want to see the next one, and you get to the next one. It's just exciting, especially if you're watching it on TV and not, I mean, Netflix is great as well, but if you're watching it on TV, you have to wait a week until it comes out. It's exciting. It's fun to be part of that.
So it's going to be like an episodic game is what you're getting at?
Yes. It'll be an episodic game, exactly. There'll be multiple episodes. You know, we have the story figured out way beyond the first game. Like I say, the first game will only be about 4 hours, though, so it'll be kind of little snippets of, you know, nuggets of gameplay. But what's nice about that is, from my point of view, we can focus our efforts on that 4 hours rather than 20 or whatever. You know, get that done. You know, and then we can get it out there and see what people think. You know, and kind of treat it almost like a pilot episode, I guess. I mean, obviously we have intentions to continue the episodes. And obviously we hope that everyone likes the first one and we can just keep on rolling with it. But there's a little bit of risk there for us, but it just fits the eShop. You know, it just fits the digital download kind of medium or whatever. So, yeah. So that's kind of what I've always liked the idea of that. Like, when I finished Wind Waker, for example, I played through Wind Waker, finished that, and I'm like, you know what? I just want more.
Yeah, it's like, it's done. But you know what? How about another chapter? Yeah. Let's add some more to it. It's all about.
It doesn't have to be reinvented. It doesn't have to be whatever. I mean, but playing it. And that's what's nice with episodic games, is you can do that. You can keep it going for as long as you want, I guess. Yeah.
And we can kind of see that with Mutant Mudds, where you kind of added on new experience, apparently. but this is going to be a lot more specifically designed for episodic content.
The story is built around that. So we have the first 2 seasons figured out. Each season has 3 episodes in it, roughly.
6 games.
So we have all that figured out. Hopefully we'll get to that. Hopefully people like it and buy it, and because it's going to be self-fulfilling, right? I mean, we released the first game. We'll see how it does. And that will allow us, to give us confidence in releasing the second one, Obviously, if it's a complete failure, then we'll never get there. But if it does okay, then great. Now, it's not like it's all resting on the first release on the 3DS. I mean, we have more options beyond that, where we may release the first one, and if it isn't, basically making as much cash as we would like it to, then we can go to other platforms, Wii U, whatever, etc., and kind of take it there until it's like, all right, now it's financially a good idea to continue doing this, and it can be a thing, a thing that we continue with. But yes, but story-wise, with the first 6 episodes figured out, and each one will lead to the other one. So we have nice plot twists and characters dying and characters being,
resurrected and reborn.
Sure. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So we're into that. We're big fans of horror and movies and games and all the rest of it, and obviously The Walking Dead and
the Dementium games.
Right? Yes.
Those are pretty good hints that you're into horror.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, sure. But so they were kind of drawing upon all of our influences, and what's really nice though about this is, Dementium 1 and 2 and Moon, honestly, were done so long ago, in my mind anyway, where it's nice to kind of have that distance from that to now, where we can look at that. And for me personally, I look at Dementium 1, I'm like, you know what, that was nice and scary. I mean, it had its faults, but it was nice and scary. Dementium 2, not so scary, but it was nice and action, lots of variety. I like that. It felt like I was in a real place, not just stuck in a hospital, and Moon has some of that as well. So we kind of look at that and go, what do we like and dislike about that, and what do we take from that for this game, Colt County, and we've never been shy about saying, Silent Hill 2 is one of our favorite, games. So, and what I love about that is it wasn't scared to play with the tension and not just throw enemies at you, but just have a nice slow creep, and you're not quite sure where there may or may not be an enemy and what may or may not be happening. And I kind of like that uneasy feeling of you going through it. And I think Dementium 1 had more of that. Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely one of the big things we're trying to achieve with this game, is that.
Now, your last published game by another publisher was Planet Crashers from UTV. Yes. That was last year, and now it seems like you've been focusing almost entirely on independent releases. How has Renegade Kid been handling, or how has it been different than having a publisher give you the funding and whatnot to have to actually produce your own games, right, independent venture?
How's it been different? It's been awesome. That's how it's been different. No, I mean, we've had great relationships in the past. I mean, the development of Dementium 1 and 2 were great. We really loved working with the teams that we worked with at Gamecock and South Peak. But nothing can compare. That sounds like I'm about to start a song. Nothing
compares to us.
But nothing can compare to you. To being able to do your own thing. Like you're not worried about convincing a publisher it's a good idea. Blah blah blah. I mean, it started with Mutant Mudds. We did it because we wanted to. It was successful. We love doing our other games. They're all creative. Yeah. But this is even more, like...
Yeah, you can just go on, do what you want to do. Like, I mean, you go create Mutant Mudds, or you can work on a multi-episodic game.
The freedom that we've had to port Mutant Mudds to what we want to. We can do a sequel if we want. We did ATV. We can do what we want with Colt County. I mean, having that freedom is amazing, So we can port it, we can do sequels, we can do spin-offs, whatever. The PR is up to us. I'm a big fan of releasing just a few screenshots rather than 20 of the same thing. So that we have that control. And we can do that. And I think it's better for the game. And I think the players appreciate that. I think because we're the people who make it and we're doing it rather than there's someone in between us and them.
Yeah. It's really direct.
Exactly. It's nice.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Mutant Mudds too.
Yeah.
You went and you magic word. And the other magic word is treasure knots.
Yeah, it is.
Now, I know they're excessively early in either of them. Even if I don't even think Mutant Mudds 2 is just an idea at this point. But is there any hint, maybe even a word that you can give that can stir up some hype for either of those games or ideas or potential of those games?
Mudds 2 is a little ways away, so we'll be waiting for that one. That's why it's not here today, and if that's coming out next year, that'll give you an idea when Mudds 2 is coming out.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But so Mudds 2, not much to say about it apart from, what we've said before. We want to add bosses, etc., But that's a ways away, so I'm super pumped about doing that for sure. I love this game, so to make a sequel to it is insanely awesome, and we have a lot of ideas to really make it a sequel, rather than just it'll be a continuation, but we'll really add stuff to it, so that's going to be very exciting. Treasure we might be seeing sooner rather than later though, because that is different. I can tell you that it is going to be on the 3DS eShop, and we're entertaining the idea of also doing a Wii U eShop release of it as well at a later date, maybe not, maybe a few months away or whatever. I can tell you it's 2D. There you go. It's
okay.
2D.
2D. Get the tweets. We gotta spread the word.
So it's another 2D game that we're doing on the 3DS. You can probably guess which engine it might be using. Maybe.
Just maybe.
It has nothing to do with this.
But it's using the same engine. I mean, Zelda Ocarina of Time used the Mario 64 engine, and they were way different.
So we're just trying to have fun with it. We're trying to have a mixture of games that take a lot of time, like this thing, and Treasure North is a little bit of a shorter kind of thing, So that'll be, it's another idea we want to kind of explore. And I love the name. I love the name a lot.
Treasure Knots.
Apparently,
it kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's like one of those names you're like, does that really exist? Didn't somebody really take that? Apparently not.
Apparently not, because you guys had the trademark and then somebody found it.
Exactly. And here we are. So
and just for information purposes, when do you expect Mutant Mudds Deluxe to appear on the Wii U?
Okay, so to be completely transparent about it, we're going to try and finish the game in April. So today is March 22nd. We're going to try and finish the game in April, submit it to Nintendo at the end of April, hopefully, and then so the game could be released as early as May sometime, but probably June. Because it may fail once or twice to fix some stuff, put it back. So so your guess is as good as mine.
You heard it here first. Just guess a date. Your guess is as good as his.
Yeah. No, probably June. Honestly, and if it's sooner, great bonus.
All right, it was great talking to you again. Great hearing all this stuff. Can't wait for Colt County and Mutant Mudds Deluxe and Treasure Knots, and I'm sure there's got to be something else that we got to.
And I should also mention Mutant Mudds on the 3DS is on sale right now for $6.
You better have bought it because I don't know when this is going to go online, but get it.